All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Adam Berezin from MSDW, and I'd like to welcome you all to another session in our Money Talks webinar series designed for D365 customers, brought to you by Sign Up Software. Today's session will focus on securing your projects in D365 F&SCM, presented by Morgan Johnson and Dave Sortis, both from Sign Up Software. So before we get started, I just want to mention a couple of things. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to type them directly into the chat, and Morgan or Dave will get back to you via email after the session ends. We're also recording the session, and the video should hopefully be posted on MSDW, I'd say, within probably the next day or so. So without further delay, Morgan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Adam. And it's always a pleasure to work with you in the Microsoft Dynamics world. As mentioned, my name is Morgan Johnson. I'm the Senior Director of Customer Success with Sign Up Software, and here to host this session together with my esteemed colleague, Dave Sortis, who is our solution expert. Dave, do you want to introduce yourself briefly before we get going?
Yes, hi, I'm Dave Sortis. I'm the Business Solution Advisor here for Sign Up and Axtension. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So briefly, before we go in to talk about our solution, I just briefly want to introduce Sign Up Software for you who are not familiar with us. So we are one of the leading ISV providers for finance and supply chain. We got over 25 years of experience with solutions for Microsoft Dynamics. We've got a portfolio of three solution families, Xlo, which you might be familiar with, which is our AP automation and solutions for the Office of the CFO, Axtension, which is our operational extensions that we will focus on today, which we gear towards the Office of the COO. And we're also proud to welcome our newest family member, Dynamic Web, to the Sign Up Software Group. We were founded in 1999. Our first product was launched in 2003. We are proud to service over 3,500 customers worldwide, and we're a team of over 200 employees worldwide. Here in North America, we started our business in 2001, and we now got a team of almost 30 people servicing the North American market. So with that, our focus today is going to be on our extension portfolio. So we're going to talk about the project management, project controlling, and production planning solutions. But I briefly want to mention our other solutions for finance and supply chain that consist of shipping control and also content gate. In addition, of course, is our AP automation solution and e-invoicing through Xlo. All of those solutions are embedded into D365, something that makes us unique in the ISV market, that our solutions are embedded into the ERP there. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Dave, who's going to talk through our solutions and present their value to you.
Great. Thank you, Morgan. Today, we will focus on how our extension products help with three key areas. First off, management by exception. You can filter specific data so you can focus on what matters. Secondly, provide actionable insights that allows your organization to be more proactive and reduce uncertainty. And third, collaborate without boundaries. That means real-time data that allows everyone access to the information when they need it. Now, as a note today, I will be showcasing three of our extension products, as Morgan said: project management, project controlling, and production planning. In order to accomplish this, I will assume three different personas as I go. First, as a project manager, second, as a project controller, and third, as a production planner. So the first product, extension project management. With project management, the project manager will no longer have a need for siloed solutions such as Excel spreadsheets or even Microsoft Project. You can plan and orchestrate any type of project, from fixed price, time and material, or even internal projects, with a single view directly in D365. You'll gain real-time insights from procurement, logistics, human resources, and that means earlier identification of profitability threats and opportunities. Finally, the Project Activity app allows people in the field to communicate and get updates on all project-related activities. The second product that I'll be covering is project controlling. With this, the project controller can discontinue fumbling with external spreadsheets. We have earned value management analysis and reporting inside Microsoft Dynamics 365 for complete and up-to-date snapshot of your projects at any stage. You're able to enrich project budgets with production costs, measure your profit margin by company. And I'd like to note, we built our solution using Project Management Institute standards and terminology. So it comes equipped with the logic and vocabulary you already are familiar with, already in use. The third product, production planning. The planner can toss aside external tools and work directly in Dynamics. Now, we all know standard D365 is very good at providing you a way to manufacture your products. It does, however, fall short when it comes to providing proactive insights when challenges arise from resource limitations and scheduling challenges. Extension production planning enhances standard Dynamics functionality and allows your organization to get the most from your equipment with real-time data. You can proactively identify the progress to date and have the ability to adjust all those resources directly within Dynamics. Second, you can bring all related information into a consolidated view and easily maintain awareness of materials, capacity and delivery, which puts your planners in the command and control position. And finally, our solution saves time by allowing all affected stakeholders the ability to make adjustments and have visibility into production changes and those related impacts. Now, I do have a note here. I want to go through some terminology, the work breakdown structure versus the cost breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure, we call it WBS, and the project manager manages that through the tasks. We're able to create work breakdown structure templates or WBS templates. On the flip side, we also give you the ability, the project controller, the ability to create cost breakdown structure, which is budgeting costs, not tasks. So the money side. And then from there, you're able to create templates, just like you can create templates on the work breakdown structure side and reuse those so you don't have to redo all your work every time. Now, as a point, I've sat in meeting rooms with several manufacturing organizations discussing this for hours, even days, believe it or not, from pump makers to filter manufacturers and even large water park water slide fabricators. They all have the same desire to make their processes repeatable and create efficiencies. These templates and our products will help you do that. All right, so let's see it in action. Here is my D365 environment. I am then going to navigate to the project management and controlling module. And I'm going to go to the normal all projects form. I open that up. Directly from here, I can see I have some new menu items, planning for project and cost control. Now I'm doing the first product, which is project management. So I have my project manager cap on, and I'm going to be looking at a particular project and seeing how things are going with that particular project. So I'm still in the menu button. I'm going to look at task planning. So the task planning, the extension task planning will load for this project. I then have the ability to see the tasks. You can see up here that I'm in version 26. So this has gotten a lot of updates, many versions updated, complex project. So you get the feel for it. The other thing I can say is you can look at and retrieve all the other versions, and they're available to look at as far as where were we, what did we change, etc. So now just a little bit of look into the Gantt chart itself. I have the ability to zoom in and zoom out with my mouse button, or I also have the ability to zoom in with the menu option, which expands it overall, and zoom back out. I also have the ability to filter this information down further. Now, since I'm only looking at one project, I'm okay, and I can save my views if I choose to, but I'm okay. Like, I could change, maybe I selected many projects. I can select them across legal entities, so I can look at intercompany. As I said, I can look at different flavors, time and material, fixed price, etc. So again, filtering down if I have many, and then I can focus and manage by exception. Now, I can also alter my chart preferences, my date range, I can show item tracking, etc. I'd like to point out the related information pane over here. If I highlight a particular task, I get my information of that task over here. Also, hovering over that task gives me a hover information window with valuable information: the project reference, the start date, the proposed end date, the duration, the effort, etc. Now, for this one, I do want to change it. I want to edit it and show you how that works. So I will do an edit and create a new version. I'll just call it Data Change 27. And I am now in, as you see, a draft. I'm no longer in a published version, but I'm in the 27th version of the draft, and I can make changes. First off, before I make those changes, I want to show you, excuse me, the work breakdown structure. So I can go into the bulk edit, and here it is. This is the work breakdown structure that built those tasks. The same concept where I can make a template or multiple templates to piece a project together in order to get the task name, the project categories, the amount of effort, the duration, the number of resources. We do also add predecessor lists and successor lists to this. So again, I just wanted to show you the ability of the bulk edit feature and the work breakdown structure itself to give you some visibility there. So back to the draft. I'm now working on the draft, and I want to change this. So let's just say that the contract is not going to be signed until the following week. Well, I'm going to move it. And then along with it, it's going to move the rest of the project. So that's more realistic based on my changes. I can then publish that. I can look at how those changes affect. And again, all of the project moved. So for this instance, for my example, I'm giving you the example of, yes, that's wonderful, and I changed that information. For now, I'm going to discard it. I won't use it. I'm going to go back to the project. I'm still in planning for projects menu item. I now, for this project, want to look at my resource planning. Again, we were in task planning before. I'm going to go now to resource planning. I have similar ability. I can zoom in, zoom out here with the mouse. I can also zoom in and zoom out with the view options. If I highlight one, if I hover over these, I get my hover information box. If I select it, I get my related information box over here with all the information regarding these resources and this task. Furthermore, I do have the ability to, again, filter and manage by exception based on project or roles, etc., to filter down and drill down even more for more detail. I have the ability to change my preferences, date range, my master plan. I can change to the master versus the dynamic or a static, etc. Now, for this one, let's say I want to change this particular task from this resource, Benjamin, to Brad. Well, I simply can just drag and drop it down into Brad. That change is made, it's committed, and I'm good to go. I can do that likewise for other operations. Just a simple example of how I can adjust resources directly in the project. All right, that is resource planning for extension project management. Now I want to look at the capacity overview in the same menu item, still have my project manager hat on, and I want to look at the capacity for this particular project. The capacity will load in a different view, not a Gantt view, but a block view, as you see. Now, as you see, most of these are green, meaning capacity is fine. For this particular one, in this week, in September, I do have some challenge issues with it. So I will have to get with my project managers and talk about this and maybe make some changes before that happens. But for now, it gives me a good flag of changes I need to make. Now, what do I have as far as options here? I can zoom. The zoom is different. I can change basically all the way down to the hour level or all the way up to a quarterly basis and look at this capacity that way. I can also change the preferences here, date range, and the master plan. I can click on just the project team capacity, and you can see that the project itself is fine. That capacity is clearly coming from another project. So I would have to dig down and see that a little more and get to the root of that. I have time. That's not until September. The other option here that I have is I'm looking at this by group and resource. I can view it by group only or by resource only. I can also filter my resources all or just those overloaded resources. And that's a simple view. I've got task planning, resource planning, and capacity overview that I'm able to see at a project level and multi-project level. So I'm going to go back to the project, and I'm going to take off my project management hat right now. I'm going to put on my project controller hat, and I'm going to start talking about the money side. So I changed to the cost control menu item that we add for the Axtension project controlling product. And you see I have a bunch of different menu items available. I'm still in this project for my 2025 conveyor, and I want to look at the cost control budget. So I open up this budget, and we're presented with, remember I told you I took the time to show you the slide with all the words on it at the CBS structure or the cost breakdown structure. That's what this is. These CBS codes, this, like the work breakdown structure, is the CBS or the cost breakdown structure. So won't match the tasks. This matches your cost buckets and your budget buckets. Within that, it gives you my categories, the name of the categories, and it also shows you the number budgeted, what the ratios are, my total quantity, my amount. Now I can change this view here to the budget period split view, and this will give me the same CBS structure with weekly periods of how these costs are budgeted. Furthermore, I can go out of here, still in my cost control, and I want to look at the project and estimate data sets that I have. So snapshots of the information of the cost control budget. So here I can just look at the data sets. There are a few. You can see some were run last year. I'm going to look at the most recent data set. Here is the data set for the budget. Again, we're carrying through the CBS code, and we are now picking up what our costs are. What are our planned costs? What are the actual costs? How are the hard committed? And what are our actual costs plus our hard committed costs? And then getting into, and then our percentage of complete. And getting into the PMI terminology, what is our CPI, or our calculated earned value, which is our earned value over our actual costs plus our committed costs. And our SPI, which is our earned value over our planned costs. And then we also have the ability to look at our estimate to complete value, our soft committed costs, our non-committed costs, and our EAC value, as well as a variance. And you can see some of these lines have a variance associated with them. Gives me a good feel. This 750 probably Variance, I need to look at maybe the 4200. But again, I have a snapshot. I don't need to wait until the project's too late. I can take these snapshots. I can work with them as the project controller, and I have the real-time data because I'm not working with Excel spreadsheets. I have all the information directly in my D365 system and all the data that lives there and all that visibility. I don't need to worry about integrations. I don't need to worry about siloed systems. All that information's here right at my hands, and I can use it as the controller. Okay. So that, beyond that, step back to the project. I do also have I can do adjustment requests for this cost control budget. Now, for this particular example, there are a bunch of requests because I use this as examples. And it shows you what is the effect of the changes, and this can be tied to a workflow. You can see here that this particular one was approved, but you can tie adjustments to a workflow. You can set up the workflow the way you want them, and those adjustments can be approved, worked on. Maybe the CFO needs to see them. Who knows? But you can do the workflow however you need to do it in order for the approval to work. The other thing is we do have reporting data, and we have overview information, which uses Power BI tools. I won't go into that in the sake of time, but now as a project controller, I have all of the control, as I said, needed to monitor my budget, to monitor my costs, and to make adjustments with workflow as needed. Awesome. We love Axtension. Now I'm going to take off my project controlling hat, and I'm going to navigate down to the production control module. And you see we have menu items for planning for production that we embed directly in the production control module. I'm not going to look there first. We'll go there in a minute. I'm going to go to all of the production orders. This is a standard form in D365, but we augment it a little bit, and we add these material availability triangles. Okay, orange means not yet available. Green showing I do have material availability. Gray, materials consumed. Red, we have an issue we need to address. And if there's blue, that means shipped. Now, for this particular example, you can see I have planning for production menu item here. I have some options here. These are added in. I'd like to point out, we are using all of the data that you have in your system in D365. That means the resources, the production orders, everything. Even when we were looking at project management and controlling, all of that's the same. So I'm going to find a production order here that I'm interested in working with. And I'm going to open up the task planning for this, from this planning for production menu. I'm going to open up the task planning for this particular production order. I'm going to zoom in. And here I have my production order. If I hover over it, I get the hover info. If I select it, I see my information here in the related information tab. I can scroll down to my tracking. I can see that it's got a related order for it, so a sub-assembly for the production order. And that 1061 actually came along when we selected the task planning for the production order. It sees it as a related sub-assembly for that production order. The only issue I have is that's not going to be made until that one's made, so I do have a problem, hence the red triangle. I need to adjust that. But I do want to show you here, this is the production order for it. I will change it in a moment. I can select all of these, and I can simply drag it and move it ahead. I want to refresh it. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, I no longer have an issue, a red issue. I have orange, and basically the orange shows me I fixed my problem. I now will be able to create this subassembly because I'm doing it earlier than this main assembly is done. Now, I can look at this particular production order. If I right click on it, I can edit it. I can update the production order. I can release it, start it, report it as finished. I can also see the details of this production order, the explosion of the order itself. This is a standard form. I'm just able to access it from our planning. I also have the ability, once it's highlighted, I get all of these production details. Great feature because I now have visibility into all of that. I can look at the order itself. I can look at the bill or the route. Let's look at the bill and see. Okay, well, here's the bill for the sub-production order. Let's highlight this one here, and let's look at the bill for the main production order. Previously, I guarantee you, this was red. Now it's orange, right? Because the order hasn't been made yet for the sub-assembly, but it will be made and it's in time. If it was in the past, as we saw when we started, it would be red. So I'm only looking at one production order here. I will change in a minute and we'll look at some resource planning. I want to cover the filters again. As always, we are able to manage by exception. We can look at this change by the statuses, the items, however you want to filter down and drill down and focus on only the information you need to make the decisions, the best decisions possible. I also can change my chart preferences. By now, this is pretty commonplace. You've seen it. Change my date range, change my item tracking, etc. So again, one production order, I'm looking at task planning. I'm going to go out of task planning. I'm actually also going to leave this production order form. I'm going to go back into production control. From my planning for production menu, I now have the ability to look at resource planning. So again, from a production standpoint, my time fence says 2 weeks in the past, 2 months in the future. I can pick my resources. Let's just do that real time. Let's just say here that I only want the resources that begin with 1. I apply that. I can move all these resources over. These are the selected resources that I want to look at. I can save this view, as we saw with others. If I'm always looking at this, or I worry about these particular resources, I can save the view. You can see there are a few other views already saved. Maybe some of my planner friends are working on those views, and that's what they use in order to do their work. So knowing the time fence, knowing the resources, I click OK. And now, instead of one view, we're going to get the Gantt's going to load multiple views of all of the production order, all the production orders with the resources assigned. Now, no, it's not Christmas. Green and red mean something. Green is your firmed production orders. Red is your planned, not yet firm production orders. And we have a whole bunch of options we can look at here. I can zoom in a little bit. I have my material availability. I have the ability to still hover over. I can see that in this case, this one was started because it has the play. This one has not yet been started. I'm going to zoom back out. And I want to make some changes. I want to look at the histogram for these resources. So here in this resource for the polishing worker, I want to expand the histogram, and I can see that this polishing worker on this week is going to be over capacity. Okay, well, that's a concern for me. So I want to make some changes. I'm going to take this particular job and I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it up to this polishing worker. So this particular resource now picked up this job. If I look at the histogram for both of these resources, I can see I got rid of my capacity problem. Awesome. But while I'm working in my office as a planner, one of the other planners comes in and says, hey, Dave, you can't assign that job to the resource of the polishing worker 1111 because that's Memorial Day week and that resource is going to be out. Oh, okay. Now I know why it was over not there. I can actually just back it out by using the planning actions log. I can see my previous logging. I can also see all logging that all planners made and see what they were also changing. In this case, I've been doing most of the changes, but I'm sure there are other people who have done work and I can see that as well. So my logging, and I just want to undo the last change. That's great. Now I have this particular job back with this resource. Yeah, I still have a capacity problem. We can address that. We could assign it to another resource, 1114 maybe. But for now, we'll leave it, showing you the undo ability. If I highlight this, excuse me, some more functionality, this particular production order, I can say, show me the entire order. You can see as well that this is highlighted and this is highlighted. Okay, show me, are there more? Show me the date lines. Okay, well, this is the end. This is the date line, and I can see now how the related production orders will be complete come the 9th. So I get by turning on the show date lines and the order, I have a much better visibility into when I'm going to complete my jobs. I'll turn that off. We went through, we saw the filters as well and the dates for the preferences. Now I'm going to switch to, still got my production planning hat on, and I'm going to switch to my capacity for my resources. Same logic here. I can pick my resources. I can pick my time fence, 3 weeks in the past, 9 weeks in the future. I'm selecting the resources that start with 1. I can save those as I can save everything that I create views for. Hey, there's that lithium ion job that I moved back to that resource. The green would have been up here. That's fine. I know I need to address it. I've got some time. I'll take care of it before the end of the week. I can look at my capacity. It's based on week. I can change the zoom of my capacity here, as I showed before, down to an hour, up to a quarter. Now, if I scroll down, I see bright green at 100%. So green, no problem. Light green, no problem. Red, I am over 110%. And I can see some more resources here. If I include my soft reservations, I get even all of those red items that you saw. I get even a bigger view of if I was to firm those planned production orders, what would happen to my capacity? And I can see the week of June, I'm going to have some issues. So I'm going to need to talk about those planned orders and whether we want to firm them that time and how to manipulate those. But again, I have the visibility. I don't need to go outside the system. I don't need to use an Excel spreadsheet or any other external system to track. I have it all visible directly in here in my D365 system. That's capacity. Now, the last really cool thing I want to show you for the production planner is simulation planning. I can create a simulation. So when I was making these changes in production, they were changing real time. Now I can label it, see my time fence for all very similar to actually what we were looking at previously. It finds 7 production orders. Before I look at them, I can add more. Maybe I miss one and I want to add a production order, or I don't want to look at the lithium ions. I know that's going to be taken care of. Maybe I'll just do that, have someone else do that job, and I could remove it if I want to. Anyway, I'm going to stay with this. I've got 17 production orders. I can open. Now it's going to load the Gantt chart, but again, we're going to be in a simulation or sandbox environment where I can move my resources around in order to make the most sense of what makes sense for me. Some of these are past, so I could bring this job over to here, maybe as well. And you can see the associated jobs come with it, maybe as well this one. So I can move what I want around, change the testing. This is my date line for today. These things didn't happen. So they were in progress, but they did not totally happen. Related areas move as they go. I have the same ability, hover info, related info over here. And again, I'm working in an environment where no fault, I can look and see and make changes to my simulations and see how that impacts. I have the same ability to look at the histograms. I also can even jump to capacity here and look at my capacity based on my changes. If I like this version, I could publish it. I can also create a new simulation version. It's no longer, I'm going to call it April 25. And I can do that from the actual planning or from the simulation I just created and take that a step further, maybe augment that simulation version. Either way, I can work in multiple versions, see which one I like the best, switch between them, and publish the one I want. Maybe I can take this to a meeting for my planners and say, guys, I have this, bring my laptop, guys, I have this, this is going to be the impacts. Is this good? We can publish it. Okay, let's publish it. For now, I can go back out. A great tool because I can create simulations, I can work with them, I can create many versions and decide which works or doesn't work. So that is simulations. And with that, I've covered project management, project controlling for the controller, and the project planning for the planner. So we are at the end of the demo. Thanks for watching that. And today we've shown you how our extension products help with the ability to manage by exception, the ability to act, and the ability to collaborate with your team members because you're all looking at the same data. All right. Morgan?
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much, Dave, and thank you, Adam, for giving us the opportunity to present. Of course, if you have any questions or want to know more about your solutions, you're more than welcome to contact either myself or Dave. And we hope you enjoyed this presentation of our solutions today.
Thanks very much.